For those of you joining us for the first time, our opening question in part 1 of this docuseries: is it possible for Chinese enterprises, companies, or individuals being represented by United States law firms or United States attorneys to receive equal protection of the law during legal proceedings in the United States? As non-parties in complex cases, we perform legal analysis and then take measures to provide equal protection of the law for Chinese enterprises, companies, and individuals, and of course, Americans, facing legal challenges in the United States, Hong Kong, and British-based legal systems. In our most recent legal analysis, we have identified 2 examples of Chinese enterprises, companies, or individuals who we allege have been denied equal protection of the law in the United States District Court, Eastern District of New York. Our first analysis is that of Mengwan Zhou of Huawei. In 2008, Mengwan Zhou was indicted and charged with making false statements to banks. She was later arrested and detained in Canada for more than 2 years, allegedly in violation of her constitutional protections to a speedy and public trial. Our second case analysis is that of Linda Swen. Who is Linda Swen? Linda Swen is former Deputy Chief of Staff to New York State Governor Kathy Hochul. She's also the former assistant to New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo. In September of 2024, Linda Swen is indicted, charged, and arrested for acting as an unregistered agent for the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party. We've taken measures to successfully issue and deliver 3 legally binding documents to Linda Swen's defense attorneys, the Supreme Court Appellate Division, State of New York, and the Attorney Grievance Committee, alleging the deprivation of the equal protection of the law against Linda Swen by all of the attorneys involved in the case. We are alleging that all of the attorneys involved in the case, United States versus defendant Linda Swen, are engaging in the unauthorized practice of law. Our legally binding documents have removed the courts, the United States District Court, Eastern District of New York, jurisdiction from hearing and deciding the matter United States versus defendant Linda Swen. We are convinced that our legally binding documents to Linda Swen's defense attorneys, alleging the unauthorized practice of law by all of the attorneys in the case, is the reason why the case against China-born Linda Swen is in a purported mistrial status, meaning that the jury is unable to decide whether Linda Swen is guilty or innocent. In this release of our docuseries, we are providing the record evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, the elements of criminality, the intent, a guilty mind, together with the guilty act of depriving Linda Swen of her constitutional protections of equal protection of the law by the Supreme Court, Appellate Division, State of New York, and Monique R. Hudson of the Attorney Grievance Committee. The state of the guilty mind of the Attorney Grievance Committee's principals and or agents thereof is the record evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. The notification from the Outlook email system following the successful delivery of our legally binding document alleging the unauthorized practice of law by all of the attorneys in the case, United States versus defendant Linda Swen. Quote, not read, end quote. From the email address beginning with AD and ending with the domain name at newyorkcourts.gov. Quote, your message was deleted without being read on December the 11th of 2025, end quote. Our legally binding document successfully issued and delivered to Linda Swen's defense attorneys and subsequently deleted by the Attorney Grievance Committee is the record evidence beyond a reasonable doubt, the premeditated guilty mind together with the act by the principals and or agents of the Supreme Court Appellate Division, State of New York, Attorney Grievance Committee. The act of deleting our legally binding document on February the 6th of 2026 is premeditated by a guilty mind. The intention to bring about a specific result, the deprivation of the constitutional protections for Linda Swen. In peril, seeking to cover up the guilty act of deleting our December the 11th, 2025 legally binding document. On December the 23rd of 2025, the Attorney Grievance Committee provides an email response to our allegations of the unauthorized practice of law by all of the attorneys involved in the case. The state of a guilty mind of the Attorney Grievance Committee, principals and/or agents thereof, is the record evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. The email's content stating, quote, "Please note that the committee will not respond from the above sender's email address," end quote. The above sender's email addresses are ira-friedman@outlook.com. This is the same email address used for sending our legally binding documents to Linda Swen's defense attorneys and the Attorney Grievance Committee on December the 11th of 2025. The other above sender's email address is mensa_c@yahoo.com. This is the email address receiving the Attorney Grievance Committee's December 23rd response. Beyond a reasonable doubt is the successful issuing and delivery of our legally binding document to Linda Swen's defense attorneys and the Attorney Grievance Committee on February the 6th of 2026, alleging the unauthorized practice of law by all of the attorneys involved in the case. The automatic reply from the Attorney Grievance Committee, quote, "We are in receipt of your complaint," end quote, is on February the 6th of 2026 from the email address beginning with AD and ending with the domain name @nycourts.gov. The state of the guilty mind, together with the guilty act of the Attorney Grievance Committee's principals and/or agents thereof, is the record evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. The notification from the Outlook email system, quote, "Not read," end quote, from Monique R. Hudson, quote, "Your message was deleted without being read on Friday, February 6th of 2026, end quote. We assert that the deleting of our legally binding documents alleging the unauthorized practice of law by all of the attorneys in the case on December the 11th of 2025 and February 6th of 2026 is with the premeditated criminal intent to conspire and deprive China-born Linda Swen of equal protection of the law in the United States District Court, Eastern District of New York. Under Title 18, Section 242 of the United States Code, we are requesting maximum criminal penalties, imprisonment for life and subsequent life, or the death penalty, against all without limit, federal and state public officials together with their state actors, for depriving China-born Linda Swen and others, as set forth in our legally binding documents on December the 11th and 15th of 2025 and February 6th of 2026, of their constitutional protections of equal protection of the law. In our next release of this docuseries, you will be presented with the record evidence, beyond a reasonable doubt, the contents of the email attachment in the email response from Monique R. Hudson, Senior Court Analyst of the Attorney Grievance Committee, further evidencing the depriving of China-born Linda Swen of her constitutional protections of equal protection of the law. For now, I'm Min Sakon, Chinese name Kong Mengxiang. Thanks for listening in. Until next time, peace.